When I first heard about the premise for Renfield, I put it on my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023 list. You go check out the video, it's definitely on there. But when I saw the first trailer, I got really worried because I did not know it was going to be a campy universal horror movie. I thought it was going to be a little bit more serious. But Nicolas Cage as Dracula still looked fun, and I love Nicolas Hoult. Two Nicks, man, two of my favorite actors. So what could go wrong with Nicolas Cage playing Dracula and Nicolas Hoult playing a lovable character like Renfield? Fortunately, a lot. And I'm going to talk about that as I break down the good and the bad of Renfield. Let's start with the premise. Renfield, the tortured aide to his narcissistic boss, Dracula, is forced to procure his master's prey and do his every bidding. However, after centuries of servitude, he's ready to see if there's a life outside the shadow of the Prince of Darkness. Let's start off with the good. Nicolas Cage as Dracula is absolutely perfect. Either he's deliriously being campy and funny as a character, or one moment he switches and becomes absolutely menacing and scary. I thought that Nicolas Cage would do a great job because he does a really good job with zaniness, but he did a very brilliant, masterful job as the character. I really wanted to see more of him. I knew the movie is about Renfield mostly, and Dracula's kind of the side antagonist, but every time he was on screen, he just chewed up the scenery, and whether he was tearing through bodies, giving narcissistic speeches about being a godlike creature, or gaslighting Renfield, he was an absolute delight. And speaking of Renfield, he's played by Nicolas Hoult, who plays him like a abused puppy dog that you just want to save and see get better, because he's a good person stuck in an abusive, gaslighting relationship that he doesn't see a way out, and he's in a codependent support group hearing all these sad stories and trying to figure out a way how he can relate to them, where it's not as obviously they don't have the extreme circumstances he has, and for him to get out of the situation he's in. And something sparks or something said in one of those meetings, which are a delight and really funny, each of those scenes were, that makes him go, I can get out of this. The combination with him connecting with Awkwafina's character really starts to get the ball rolling with him trying to live a life outside of Dracula. Another thing I have to say about Hoult, he needs to get into some superhero movie or get an action franchise on his own. Not only is he really, really good at being a very likable actor, he does a great job with the action. I know that he was the runner-up to play the Batman for the one that Robert Pattinson got, and I can see why. He does a really good job of doing the stunts that he was allowed to do and looking like someone that could do serious action and the more emotional moments. Nicolas Hoult, I've been a fan of for a while. If you saw The Menu last year or even the show The Great, he has a lot of range, and he's just an actor that I think could hold down an action role, especially after seeing this. And the trailers didn't advertise that this movie has some solid action set pieces, which was surprising to me. There's one that they show in the trailer where they're in that bar and they get attacked, and Awkwafina's character is also there as well when they first approach her trying to kill her. And that one is longer than I expected it to be, and it's done really well, really well. And there's a couple other more ones that they teased in the actual trailers, but they didn't show nearly the good parts of it. And I really like that each one was choreographed really well, and Nicolas Hoult character once again did a great job in each one of those. And there was a lot more gore in this film than I expected. Buckets of blood, dismemberment, whole bunch of different things going on here. Someone's getting their arms ripped off, and then then Renfield using those arms to shove it into somebody's chest and pin them to a wall. Just different things like that. Between Dracula doing some things, Renfield got a lot of the action in there. It was a lot gorier, and it was a mixture of like funny action and some serious gnarly action. And the two main supporting characters in the film is Awkwafina's Rebecca, who's a do-good cop who has some trauma, and she's trying to take down this mob family that has like control over the city. And Ben Schwartz, who wasn't really advertised in the trailers that much, but he has not a huge part, but a significant part in the film where he plays one of the mob family's kids, and he's just eating up the role. He's having so much fun, and these two come into constant conflict throughout the film, and then their conflict gets mixed into the drama of Renfield and Dracula, and they add to the fun of the story. Awkwafina, if you've seen her in something, where you're getting into her type of comedy and her kind of emotional acting that she does. And Ben Schwartz is just having full-on fun throughout the whole thing, and he brings a lot of lightheartedness to the film. Overall, the movie was campier than I expected, but I think there was the right tone for the story that they wanted to tell. It was campy, it was fun, it was gory, it was bloody. It's a comedy horror, but I feel like it's more of a comedy drama, because the horror aspects, to me personally, someone that watches horror films, wasn't really that scary. They were executed decently, but you kind of knew when they were going to come, and it didn't really scare me. It was the typical jump scares. It was more focused on the drama, the action, and the characters and what they were going through than trying to scare you, and obviously the comedy. But there was attempts at heartfelt moments. And for me to talk about that, let's get into the bad. The script, when it tries to get into the heartfelt moments and conversations between characters that are not Renfield and Dracula, is very cheesy, and not in a good way cheesy. Like, I like cheesy movies sometimes. Sometimes they're just a good watch to have and kind of fun, but this was cheesy in a bad way. Cliche one-liners that was used over and over and over in this movie. It drove me crazy and actually made me roll my eyes a couple times. Run-of-the-mill sappy moments that you try to get you like emotional rousing, and I think they didn't earn some of them because of the editing of the film, where this movie feels like it's rushing to get to the end faster than the Super Mario Brothers movies. Pacing, if you thought that movie was paced really fast, this one is going to blow you away how fast it goes. It doesn't looks like set and sit in certain moments so you can really feel it and let the actors kind of really bring those emotions out. It's just going fast and fast. They deliver the cheesy line and they expect that's still going to be enough for you to get the emotional moment out of you, and it just comes out really flat a lot of times. And I gotta say, other than the script, the screenplay was sloppy. I think that outside of what Nicolas Cage was doing, and I think it's just because it's Nicolas Cage and he's just mesmerizing to watch. I'm a big fan of his filmography in the last couple of years. He picks a lot of interesting stuff that's always very different, and when he gets to get zany, that's the best version of him, and he gets to do that here, and probably not as much as he should have, but he did a great job. But outside of him, there was a lot of moments that felt like was sloppy in terms of the camera work, the pacing, or how they were trying to draw the emotion out of the actors, where they just didn't give the actors good direction on what to do. And then certain action set pieces were edited weird, especially one that was supposed to be an emotional moment, and it just felt like weird choices that they should have rewatched this and saw, okay, this is not flowing as well as it should be to really get the emotional moment that we want out of the audience. And out of all the characters and the actors in this movie that suffer from it the most is Awkwafina's character, Rebecca. Unfortunately, we all know Awkwafina's like comedy stitch. She does it in every movie that she's in, being loud and with the accent and doing the one-liners and shaking her head. But the director does not use it well here. Like, the last time I saw it was in Shang-Chi, and I thought she was used in that movie well, but the director did not know how to direct it in a way to make it feel coherent. And also, I know that she's a good dramatic actress because I've seen her in a movie like The Farewell, and she did a great job there. But here, I don't know what it was. I think it might have been just that her character was just written so poorly and the lines were written so poorly. I think a combination of that and the fact that she's not that strong of an actress to overcome the cheesiness and the poor written lines to make the moments feel like earned. What was up with her having like the most biggest plot armor in the world? She had more plot armor than John Wick in this film. It was so weird. She was almost as super as Renfield's character, who had superpowers of Dracula. I was watching throughout the movie and I was like, I know I'm not supposed to take this super serious because it's a comedy, but it just didn't make any sense. Like, it's some type of suspensions of belief that you're supposed to have, but it's just some of the things if you watch this movie, you're gonna see like, wait, how did she survive that? And then her and Ben Schwartz both have subplots here that take away from the fun premise of the film, unfortunately. Her having this beef with the mob and trying to get revenge and something that they did to her family, and Ben Schwartz's character trying to prove himself. All of it wasn't fleshed out nearly as well as it needed to be, and they tried to make Awkwafina's character like a co-lead with Renfield, and their stories were supposed to mix together and support each other, and I think that it just didn't execute it well enough for it to like land strongly. It felt kind of flat for me, unfortunately, and it took away from the really strong, fun premise that they started with the movie. Let's get into my verdict. So overall, I had a really fun time at Renfield, and it's worth checking out just to see Nicolas Cage's Dracula, Nicholas Hoult as Renfield, and their chemistry together. Their scenes together were the best scenes in the movie, and the scenes with Renfield, Rebecca, and Dracula together as well. It's just anytime Dracula and Renfield are in a scene together and they're interacting with people, even if they're not interacting with each other, was the best stuff in the film. And I wish it was more of that instead of going away from those characters and focusing on human stories that didn't elevate the story overall. So I think that they had a great premise. I think just the script just let it down and made something that could have been a great movie turn into a good movie, okay movie. So with that said, I'm going to give Renfield a C. If you've seen Renfield already, did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? And if you have not, based on my review, are you going to check it out? Let me know all those thoughts down below. Like the video if you like my review. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to notify my reviews, reactions, ranking lists, live discussions, and much, much more. You can catch more of my content right now.